Fine, I'll give you another shot, M. Night. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, surprisingly here with the review for the new M. Night Shyamalan film, Split. And no, you did not mishear that. I am actually reviewing an M. Night Shyamalan film that came out in theaters. I know, it is quite the shocking day. So Split is about 3 teen girls that get kidnapped and held captive by a man suffering from multiple personality disorder and must find a way to escape him before his new personality, known simply as the Beast, comes after them. Now this film was produced, written, and directed by one of my all-time favorite directors, M. Night Shyamalan, the same man responsible for such classic films as The Village, Lady in the Water, The Happening, After It, and of course his most critically acclaimed and beloved film, The Last Airbender. Okay, enough joking around now. But yes, this film was made by M. Night Shyamalan, and as many of you are well aware, I do not have the most favorable opinion of the man. So much so that I actually refuse to see any more of his films that were released in theaters after the atrocity that he committed back in 2010. We don't need to say what it is, you all know what I'm referring to. But when I saw the trailer for Split, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it really piqued my curiosity. It's the first time ever that a trailer for an M. Night Shyamalan film actually looked promising. It looked intriguing, it looked intense, it looked like it could actually be a good film. So I said to myself, you know, after everyone gave him some props for The Village, which I refused to see but apparently was pretty good, I said, you know what? Everybody deserves a second chance now and again, and I think M. Night deserves a second chance. So I went in to Split with a very open mind, but also being a bit withdrawn, you know, kind of expecting the worst. But again, I went in open-minded, hoping to like the film. And after seeing the film, have my opinions of M. Night changed? No, they have not. But I'll give M. Night this. Split is his most competently made film since The Village, but it still suffers from many of the terrible M. Night Shyamalan tropes that we have come to expect from his films. But before we get to all the bad, let's first address some of the good. The best thing about this film, hands down, were the performances, especially James McAvoy's, as he knocked it out of the park with his character, or should I say characters, as he's able to fully embody all the different personalities that reside in the character of Kevin, both mentally and physically. I truly applaud his performance, and his performance carries the entire film. I also thought that the woman who played Kevin's psychiatrist was pretty good in the film. I liked her character, and actually all the moments between Kevin and his psychiatrist were the best scenes in the entire film, and I wish the film would have just focused on these two characters and actually make the psychiatrist the protagonist and make Kevin and his multiple personalities the antagonist, and just seeing her have to deal and try to understand the multiple personalities that reside in Kevin. That would have been a far more interesting story to tell, and that's really where the focus of the film should have been, instead of on the 3 girls that get kidnapped, because their characters, we'll get to them soon. The concept of the film is quite refreshing and very intriguing. In fact, it was the main selling point that made me go see the film in the first place. I mean, a film that centers around a man suffering from multiple personality disorders who kind of goes awry and kidnaps 3 girls. I mean, how could that not pique my interest? And the last good thing I took away was that the film was very well shot. The cinematography was really good. But again, even with those good elements in the film, it still suffers from the M. Night Shyamalan curse. And what exactly is the Shyamalan curse, you may ask? Well, allow me to enlighten you. poor execution, wooden dialogue, bland characters, uninspired direction, weak climax, and the list goes on. Now when I say that Split was poorly executed, what I mean is that the film was supposed to be a psychological horror slash thriller, but it didn't come off as that. There was very little horror and not a lot of thrills. In fact, the film never once had me on the edge of my seat, fearing for what was going to happen next and what was going to happen to our characters. I felt no tension in any of the scenes. In fact, the film felt more like a parody of an M. Night Shyamalan thriller instead of being a genuine M. Night Shyamalan thriller. And unlike The Visit, I don't think that was their intention, as they took the film pretty seriously. Most of the dialogue in this film is very reminiscent to M. Night's more recent work. It's downright embarrassing. It comes off as wooden and unnatural, with characters just spewing out exposition time and time again, or just explaining how they feel most of the time instead of having actual organic and natural conversations. M. Night, there is a difference between building characters through dialogue and just having characters explain what another character is by stating things about the character. A big difference. Believe it or not, subtlety in writing actually helps to enhance the experience and make the audience actually feel an attachment to the characters. And speaking of the characters, besides Kevin, his multiple personalities, and his psychiatrist, all the other characters, primarily the three girls that get kidnapped in the film, aren't even worth mentioning, as they're just so hollow and bland and completely forgettable. In fact, now that I think about it, they're also completely superfluous to the entire story. They didn't need to be in this film. If you were to remove their characters from this film, or even replace them with better characters, nothing would change about the story. In fact, if you were just to focus the entire story on Kevin, his multiple personalities, and his exchanges with his psychiatrist, and leave out the whole kidnap plot, the story would still have worked. Nothing would have been missed. Hell, you could have just introduced these girls during the climax of the film and it wouldn't make any difference. They would have the same weight and development as they did throughout the entirety of Split. And I'm sorry, but I did not like the main girl of the three, as she made so many stupid decisions throughout the entirety of this film that made me constantly facepalm like, what the hell are you doing? And I understood what M. Night was trying to do, as he tried to showcase what her life was prior to being kidnapped, showing her upbringing, her backstory, and I'm like, okay, I see where you're going with this, M. Night, and I thought you were gonna build it up to something, but no, it leads nowhere. I thought it was gonna be like this whole, like, the hunter waits for the right opportunity to strike, but no, halfway through the film, she starts acting the way that she should have been acting, and it just made me go, so what was the point of her acting stupidly before? That makes no sense, M. Night, and the character doesn't come off as empathetic or even sympathetic. She just comes off as stupid. M. Night's direction of the story is all over the place. He doesn't know what story he wants to tell. Is it the story about a guy with multiple personalities that is battling with his various personalities? Or is it a story about that same guy who kidnaps three girls for some sort of purpose as some sort of sacrificial lamb sort of thing? Or is it a story about, again, that same guy who talks to a psychiatrist and that psychiatrist trying to learn and understand him and his multiple personalities? He tries to focus on all three of them, but it just becomes a total mess by the end. And the film's climax? Wow! Talk about a huge letdown that leads to absolutely nothing. Nothing. That climax gives the climax from Storks a run for its money. It is literally all build-up and no payoff. But I'll say this, guys. After having to put up with the film's mediocrity for almost 2 hours, the film actually ends on a pretty awesome and exciting note. Like, when I saw it, I went, holy shit. Mind freaking blown, and I am super pumped. I'm super stoked. Oh my goodness, M. Night. I have not been this excited for something that you're gonna be working on, hopefully, since I don't even know when, but that ending, that was so great. That's one of the best twists I've seen from M. Night in a very long time. And I can't help but be excited, man. It really, really excites me. I want to tell you guys what it is, but I'm going to wait to talk about it in a separate video so I can go into more detail about it because, guys, there's a lot to talk about with that ending. It's mind-blowing, and I'm just so happy. But I had to put up with the rest of the film in order to get that happiness. Overall, guys, while Split wasn't a complete atrocity like some of Shyamalan's previous works, it still was a pretty bad, poorly made film. I compare it to a rusty car that got a fresh new coat of paint. It doesn't matter how much paint you put on that rusty car or how cool the paint looks, it doesn't change the fact that underneath all that paint is still a rusted piece of junk. So no matter how cool of a concept that you have, and no matter how great James McAvoy is, underneath all of those things is an easily forgettable film. Though honestly, I shouldn't even be surprised that the film turned out to be so mediocre. I mean, after all, it was produced, written, and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. That is a dead giveaway. But as always, guys, I'm not the end-all be-all opinion when it comes to Split. I would love to know what you guys thought about this film as well. Did you actually enjoy it? Do you think it's a return to form for M. Night Shyamalan? Or were you like me and just found it to be really mediocre, lackluster, and completely forgettable and is not a return to form for this once great director? And let me know, what is your favorite and least favorite M. Night Shyamalan film? Comment below, let me know. And as always, guys, if you'd like to support the Black Critic Guy just a smidge more, why not donate to my Patreon account? Link is in the description. And if you'd like to send me any fan letters, send it to this P.O. Box right up here. And if you'd like to be a part of the Black Critic crew and not miss out on a single awesome video on this channel, hit that subscribe button below, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony White II with the split personality as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.
Come on.